This program is presented to you in color.
With Spider-Man Brand New Day now in the rearview mirror, I think it's safe to say that Marvel is officially back. But why? Why has this studio been firing on all cylinders with their films since Thunderbolts last year? And what does that mean for Avengers Doomsday? Hey everyone, Braden here. Welcome to the Doomsday Clock series, where we build theories around the next Avengers film right up to its release. So, the last three Marvel movies have seen a massive rise in quality, and it's cause for celebration. But I want to dig a little deeper than that and figure out why the studio is on such a hot streak lately. I think my analysis is going to surprise you, and you may not agree, but my goal is to prove that this studio may not be perfect, but they are listening and they are implementing a new form of quality control that we haven't seen from them before. So first, we'll recap these three movies and what they did that resonated with so many of us. Then we'll look at how Marvel has taken a page out of the playbook of another studio to ensure we get the best movie possible. And of course, finally, we'll take a look at these facts and ask what exactly this means for Doomsday. So let's get into it. Now, if you look closely at Marvel's last three massive hits, I believe their turnaround was the result of a radical, high-stakes gamble that completely changed how the studio builds a story. So starting off with Thunderbolts, Marvel revealed this film at SDCC 2022, and what they gave us was a logo and concept art for characters that we didn't really care about up to that point. Taskmaster, Red Guardian, US Agent, Ghost. I think Valentina was on there too. But anyways, the point is, some of these characters are great, and this movie really helped a lot of them, but seeing this, lineup, it didn't really excite us because in the comics, we got characters like Baron Zemo and Red Hulk. So going into this, I was a bit trepidatious, and admittedly, I didn't really care about this movie pretty much right up to its release when the reviews started coming out. I think this movie went through some writers and some directors, and there was a bit of a shuffle there. Eventually, they landed on the Beef Crew and Jake Schreier, and the result was incredible. I mean, the trailers were good. The movie was fantastic. It had a great message. It had a great story. It was character driven. So much stuff worked in this movie, and it really did feel like, I think a lot of people said this actually at the time, it felt like Infinity Saga level quality and greatness and excitement back in the fandom of building towards Avengers Doomsday. And honestly, I think it was the best comic book movie of the year last year. So hats off to them for pulling that off with this movie. And Jake Schreier was even rewarded the X-Men movie for this. Now, Fantastic Four, I was a lot more excited for. Building up to this movie, rumors around the casting of Reed Richards, it was a whole thing, Sue Storm and all that. Mila Kunis almost was the thing or something like that. I don't know, guys. But point is, there was a lot of hype around this movie going into it, and the casting and how they pull it off, and if Dr. Doom was going to be in it, sure enough, he kind of was. The result was great. I kind of have it on any given day, either better or a little bit worse than Superman, but, they're kind of neck and neck for me. But it was a gorgeous movie, probably the most gorgeous comic book movie of last year. So they had that. And again, great message, character driven, this family dynamic, and them having to decide this impossible choice to give their son to Galactus or their planet gets destroyed. I mean, heavy stuff. And it really worked for me. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Awesome. So yeah, Marvel stacked another W last year, and that leads us to 2026 with Brand New Day. And I haven't really shared my thoughts on this movie on the channel yet, but going into this movie, I had a lot of trepidation. Tom Holland as Spider-Man, the Home trilogy didn't work for me as a whole, and I got lots of videos on the channel about that. You can check them out. But point is, I was the person who was primed to not like this movie or to have it not work for me. And damn it, did Tom Holland and Destin and the whole team, they really brought their A game. They delivered what I think is probably the best live action Spider-Man movie. I think it's better than Spider-Man 2. Maybe by a hair. I don't know. Maybe I gotta watch it a second time, but I do think, as I stand right now, it's my favorite one. Anyways, this movie was great. It's paying off in the box office to the point where I don't even know if Doomsday can beat this, and that's crazy. It's beating Endgame right now, guys. Like, this is unprecedented, but it just goes to show that they worked their butts off. It's paying off. Spider-Man is the crown jewel of Marvel, and I don't know if Sony's ever given them those rights back, but by taking these three massive narrative risks back to back and focusing heavily on raw character flaws, story, and Marvel quietly executed a definitive studio philosophy that completely rewrote their playbook going forward. Now, most critics claim Marvel's comeback is simply because the writing got better, but I think the real secret to their success is Kevin Feige and the fact that he seems to be using the exact creative blueprint used by another Disney studio, Pixar. Don't come after me. I swear, I'm trying to make a point. So just... I know, Pixar is like the crown jewel studio of movies. Everything they touch, well, up until the last few years, but everything they touched before then was pretty much gold and guaranteed to make you feel something and just move you in really powerful ways. I mean, some of the greatest films in history are Pixar films. Ratatouille, Up, Nemo, Monsters Inc. These are great, not just great kids movies, but great movies, and adults can find just as much joy in them as kids, and that's really the beauty of Pixar. And they just build towards a specific feeling, emotion, a thing that we all struggle with as humans, and they centered the movie around that. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is that Marvel seems to be doing the same thing. They're taking, a core feeling, a core message, and they're building the movie around it, and they're, putting character first and just giving us these great quality films that we have been desperate for in the MCU for quite a few years now. Even the best of the multiverse saga, I think, is just different from what they've been doing in the last three movies. I know there's a lot of flack on Kevin Feige, but he is truly the greatest producer in all of Hollywood history. And what he has done in the Infinity Saga, and then what he was able to do to course correct the multiverse saga after things like COVID, Bob Chapek having, guardrails around him and his team, the whole Victoria Alonso thing, Quantumania. I know there's some other stuff. Jonathan Majors, countless things. He was able to steer the ship, get things back on track. I know we're still not perfect, but we're getting there. And we're finally at a point where there's no new Disney Plus stuff being filmed, which is just a great feeling that we're kind of out of there and we're moving on to this evolved stage of Disney Plus, whatever that looks like. But the priority right now for Feige very much seems to be movies. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it was in the Infinity Saga when they were firing on all cylinders. That's the way it needs to get back to. So, point is, taking this Pixar mentality has gotten them great critics reviews. The other two movies, from last year, they didn't do great at the box office. I gotta admit that. But that's a result of them just fumbling from the years before. Now it feels like, they stacked these W's. Spider-Man's box office just soared. They might be able to get to a point of normalcy again. As a fan, that's great news because I really want to see this studio succeed and make stories that we care about again. That's what's been missing, and I just am so excited to see what Doomsday does to kind of cap that off, and Secret Wars, and what we can build to in the Mutant Saga. So point is, after my long ramble, Thunderbolts had a core feeling. The pain of being labeled as a failure, depression, giving a reason to try, this dysfunctional family, Fantastic Four First Steps. I'd already talked about the warmth of a family bond, and this ultimate sacrifice that they have to make or decide not to make, and what that does for them as a world, as their Earth, and as a team. It's great stuff. Brand New Day, same thing. Crushing isolation, moving on when your entire support system is completely erased. I mean, this is stuff that Pixar does. They do the same thing. Onward had a great moment, maybe not the best Pixar movie, but even the worst Pixar movies still just freaking, they hit you in the feels by the end. And that's what I'm kind of sensing here with Marvel. So by reversing the entire script from a single target emotion or feeling or message, instead of CGI action and spectacle and things like that, Marvel unlocked Pixar's ultimate trick. They use high concept superhero spectacles and, oh look, Hulk's in this and Punisher's in this, and that's all the bait to get you in. Once you're in, they hit you with massive emotional gut punches, and when the credits roll, you're left blown away. So, curing audience fatigue across 3 entirely different films was a massive achievement. But Marvel's real genius was using this hot streak to set us up for Avengers Doomsday. Because we've been on this journey with these characters, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, we're going to care about them a lot more in Doomsday and Secret Wars. So it really feels like they have found what they were doing in the Infinity Saga, building these characters outside of the Avengers movies, bringing them into the Avengers movies. So it feels like we're back to that, and that's great. Maybe some of these characters die, maybe some of them lose something important. I don't know what the Russo brothers got planned, but I can tell you, it's going to hit you, and that's the Pixar method. Marvel didn't just fix these movies for reviews and audience coming back. They intentionally built up emotional attachment to these characters so that when RDJ's Doctor Doom appears and he freaking tears them apart and annihilates them, we're going to feel it. I promise you. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Do you think Marvel's back? If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, join our Discord community, and if you dug this video, be sure to check out our other Doomsday Clock videos. Not every theory is going to come true by Doomsday, but they're really fun videos that I put together and I've been building towards since April, and we're going to keep building towards right up to Doomsday in December. So I've been Braden Vowels, and I'll see you in the next one.